It's nighttime on Yavin. The only light is a handful of fires that pierce through the cold darkness of the abandoned outpost. The air is heavy, all are somber as they try to keep warm. Kento mourns alone. Obi-Wan looks around, assessing their losses.
How many were we able to get out?
No more than 30.
30 out of so many. Do we know where they took the others?
I could poke around a bit. Talk to some of my friends in the Imperial Intelligence Unit. See if they know anything. But the Empire prides itself on secrecy these days.
Obi-Wan nods, defeated. He looks at Leia talking with the other children, helping. The slightest of smiles forms on his lips. Bail chimes in.
I know what you did, Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan looks over.
It was an impossible choice. Don't carry it.
Obi-Wan ignores the comment.
She looks so much like her, doesn't she?
She does have her eyes. And her mind. But her brashness, her fearlessness.
It's him. It was never a choice, Bail.
The two men give a knowing look. Nothing more needs to be said. Obi-Wan finds a quiet corner. He's had to keep it together this whole time, but here in the darkness, alone, he feels it all. He can't hold it in any longer. He doubles over and falls to his knees, trying to hold back his emotion. Moments pass as he endures his grief, until finally a comforting voice comes forward.
Now is not the time for tears, Obi-Wan.
He looks up, and there he appears.
Master.
What troubles you, my apprentice?
Obi-Wan ignores the question and responds with another.
Did you know?
Obi-Wan, I cannot interfere in the choices you make.
Did you know?
No more than a drop of water knowing what part of the ocean it belongs to, Obi-Wan. But would it have mattered if I did?
I am gonna kill him.
You mustn't.
He is a poison, Qui-Gon. He must be destroyed. We are Jedi. We destroy evil.
We are Jedi, Obi-Wan. We keep the peace.
Through violence.
With defense. Never attack.
With all due respect, Master, you weren't there during the Clone Wars. You didn't see the Jedi Purge. I have seen evil, looked it in the eyes. I know when it needs to be stopped.
His fate is not in your hands, Obi-Wan. He is still the chosen one.
I don't care. He killed my family.
Obi-Wan rises.
Obi-Wan, you know where this path goes.
Obi-Wan doesn't respond, but he hears his master. His anger subsides. He breathes, regaining his composure.
Forgive me, Master. I am grieving.
And what will you do with that grief?
I know what I want to do. And I know what I've been taught to do. But I do not know which side to listen to anymore. I don't know what to do. But I do know. This must end.
Trust the Force, Obi-Wan. It will never abandon you.
I will do what I must.
At that moment, a rustling can be heard through the trees. The students and Obi-Wan take a defensive stance. The bushes continue to rustle. They are ready to leap into action. Then Moshe breaks through the tree line, exhausted. Everyone sighs in relief. Moshe collapses. When he regains his strength, he tells everybody before he left the planet he overheard stormtroopers talk about some place called Kamino. They took everyone else there. He was able to collect this information, implementing Obi-Wan's teachings. Obi-Wan is impressed, but also dismayed.
Very good, Moshe. Very good.
Bail questions why they would be taken to Kamino. Obi-Wan knows the horrible truth.
They're trying to find a way to clone Force sensitives.
What?
It's been an obsession of the Sith since the beginning, to cheat death, to bend the Force to their will.
Obi-Wan looks around the campsite. He sees fear in their eyes. They all look to him. Is it over? Do they run? Do they hide? What is there left to do? Obi-Wan is at his lowest, his most vulnerable, but he knows he can't let them see that. So he stands to speak.
Gather around, everyone. Gather round.
The small group forms around him. Kento emerges from the back of the cave.
I know you all are scared. I am too. They hit us. That is what they do. They hit hard enough that they hope to keep you on the ground, living in fear for your lives, the lives of your families. They know they can take them. They can take away everything except one thing. One thing they can never take. Hope. It is fragile. It sometimes shrinks to a whisper. But if even the smallest grain remains, it can grow. It can spread. I lost mine once. You all, along with our friends, helped me find it again.
Obi-Wan begins to believe his own words as he speaks them.
They will never stop coming for us, hunting us. As long as there are Jedi in this galaxy, they will be relentless. And perhaps that is the problem.
The group appears confused.
The Jedi were never meant to be saviors of the galaxy. That was never our place. For 1,000 generations, it was our goal to give people the tools they needed to fight for themselves, to protect the peace. Then we became soldiers. But I see it now. Jedi are not saviors. These wars, this empire, will not be overthrown by armies of Jedi or cloned soldiers fighting battles the people cannot. The people must fight this war for their own freedom. The people must rebel. You must rebel, not as Jedi, not as students, but as men and women, as free citizens of this great galaxy. Sir? Use the gifts you have. You have everything you need, but I cannot lead this rebellion. Not anymore. It must be led by the people, by all of you.
Bail looks at him curiously. Leia stands close to her father.
I am a relic from the past, but you all must fight for your future. I will help you one last time. Our friends are in trouble. So the way I see it, we have 3 options. We can run, we can hide, or we fight back, not as Jedi, not as soldiers, but as rebels. So, what will it be?
Everyone hesitates, but then Moshe rises. Then another, and another. Kento steps forward. Everyone rises.
Okay, then let's get to work.
The group gathers around to discuss a plan. They are going to take the fight to them. Across the galaxy, Kamino security goes on high alert as a ship enters the landing zone. A procession awaits. Some of the stormtroopers chatter about what is going on. The ship lands and the ramp deploys. It's Obi-Wan. He steps out of the ship, stoic, resolute. The stormtroopers raise their guns. Then, the door rises in the Kamino facility. It's Vader.
I did not think you would come willingly.
You have all the leverage here, Anakin. Me for the younglings. That is the deal.
Vader looks to his left, then to his right as the stormtroopers whisper to themselves about his name. He force pushes the entire entourage of stormtroopers over the balcony with one force push. Nobody can know his identity. Obi-Wan is no longer shocked by his cruelty, but he notices when his old apprentice is off balance.
That name no longer has any meaning for me.
Very well. Lord Vader. I will say it again. Me, in exchange for the younglings.
And tell me why. Don't I just take you right now?
You are welcome to try.
Obi-Wan reveals his lightsaber. Vader stares at him. No emotion can be identified through his cold, dark mask. Both men are a hair's breadth from destroying each other. Then Vader speaks.
The Empire accepts your terms.
I need proof of life.
Vader presses a button and a hologram appears. The children are held in cages, being experimented on. One of them cries out in pain. Obi-Wan gets visibly emotional.
Enough.
Obi-Wan steps forward and offers his hands and lightsaber. A new batch of stormtroopers come through, bind him, and escort him into the facility.
I should have known you would have brought them here to be studied.
An army of subservient force users was always the Emperor's ambition.
Don't be foolish, Vader. You know as well as I do. A connection to the Force is cultivated over years of training. You can't just implant it in an empty vessel and expect to get a connection from nothing.
And yet we make progress. You will make an excellent test subject, Obi-Wan. We could learn far more from experimenting on one mature Jedi than 1,000 dull Force users. But now, we have both.
Obi-Wan searches the corridors as they walk, looking for signs of the students.
I will give you credit, though, Obi-Wan. We allowed your father to house these Force sensitives because their connection was deemed too useless by our researchers at the time. But now, that connection is much stronger. They are no longer completely useless to the Empire.
Release them, Vader. They have nothing to do with us.
Vader slams the doors. He grabs Obi-Wan and throws him against the wall.
They have everything to do with us. Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan realizes this was never about research.
Tell me, how does it feel to have the ones you loved ripped from your hands?
You waited all those years just so you could kill them in front of me.
A family for a family.
She never ran towards me, Anakin. She ran away from you. From what you became.
Vader Force pushes Obi-Wan against the wall, pulls his blade out, and swings it within an inch of his neck. He lets the heat from the blade sear Obi-Wan's beard.
She would have eventually been made to understand.
Like he made all the others understand.
Vader drops him.
And that's the problem with anger, isn't it? It's always there, until you either let it go, or get burned by it from the inside.
I've outgrown your lectures, Obi-Wan.
Vader throws him on a medical table. The locks clamp down on him. Doctors step into the room.
Brace yourself, Master. This is going to be quite painful. Your reactions are easier to study without anesthetic.
Obi-Wan's eyes grow wide. Vader steps back to watch as the doctors begin cutting, poking, and prodding. Galen enters the room to witness what is to become of this man he studied under for several months.
Let them go, Vader. We had a deal.
The deal has been altered.
Outside, the rebel plan springs into motion as one small group rises out of the water and climbs the massive columns holding up the alien factory. They rig charges on the columns and continue to climb. While Group 2, led by Moshe, enters the facility through a small ventilation shaft. The mission is simple: find and extract the prisoners while Vader is distracted with Obi-Wan. Back with Obi-Wan. He is still undergoing profound torture, gritting his teeth, refusing to beg for mercy.
You always were a stubborn one, weren't you, Obi-Wan? Perhaps if we cannot break your body, we can break your spirit. Let's see how he responds if we torture one of his students. Bring one of them to me.
Starkiller hesitates. These were his peers.
Don't do it, Galen. Don't do it.
You have no power here, Obi-Wan.
The group enters the main facility and takes out a few stormtroopers, swap out the gear, and pretend to be escorting the rest of the Force sensitives to the holding level. Their droid finds the location. Moshe and his team makes their way through the maze of corridors, while the others make their way to the generator room to cut power. Moshe and company arrive at the holding level and covertly overtake the guards. Group 2 cuts the power to the level, unlocking the gates. Now, United the crew gets ready to make their way to the exit. But they are spotted by Starkiller.
I thought Obi-Wan might try something like this.
Step back, traitor.
You're not going anywhere.
In a moment of panic, Moshe is able to lock the door before Starkiller gets through. What was a breakout escape is now a run for survival.
What do we do?
Through here.
The group escapes through the garbage chute as Starkiller tries to melt through the locks. Back with Obi-Wan, he continues to endure the torture. He passes out from the experience. The doctor shocks him back to consciousness and then begins again. He is drained, he is sweaty, he is weak. In the control room, Team 2 finds out that the Starkiller is hunting the others. What do we do?
What Master Kenobi told us to do. If anything goes wrong, cut the power and get him out to help.
They cut the power. The lights go out.
That's it?
Not quite.
Obi-Wan's restraints loosen. He uses the Force to push a droid at Vader and pulls his saber off his hilt. Vader attacks. The pair swing ferociously as Obi-Wan tries to break free from Vader to get to the students. The battle moves from the research bay to the corridor. Vader slows him down every step of the way, all the way to the test floor. They both move aggressively. In the acrobatics of their combat, they regain control of their own lightsabers. Vader taunts Obi-Wan relentlessly. He notices Obi-Wan is not trying to defeat him, only get around him to escape. Then it dawns on him.
I know what you seek.
In that moment, he uses one of the doors to vanish. Obi-Wan is alone.
Oh no.
Cut to a long bridge in the Kamino labyrinth, where the students are all running to an extraction point. Starkiller coming from behind them, cutting through doors and droids. The power keeps coming in and out, and then it goes dark again. The students pause. Then a red blade ignites. Vader stands between the young students and the exit. The kids flinch in fear. Vader walks towards them slowly.
You did well, younglings. But this is where your journey ends.
The students brace for the worst as Vader approaches. Then, Obi-Wan hits the platform, standing with renewed strength and conviction, right where he needs to be, between Vader and the younglings.
Not this time, Lord Vader.
Obi-Wan raises his blade and attacks. The two lock blades, a decade of rage and anger consolidated into one singular strike. Obi-Wan does everything in his power to get him off of the platform to clear the way for his students to reach the exit. Meanwhile, Starkiller approaches from the rear. The kids are scared.
Time to die.
Moshe steps forward.
Not today, Galen. You think you can defeat me?
Galen locks Moshe in place with the Force. Moshe grits his teeth in pain, resisting the Force's pull on his body. A small object smacks Galen in the face. He is distracted enough for Moshe to break free. He looks behind him. Another student threw the object.
No, Galen, I don't. But we can.
He steps forward. The other children raise their hands, channeling the Force, individually insignificant, but together powerful. Galen tries to resist the push from the 100 or so students pushing against him. He keeps stepping forward, but eventually it becomes too much. The students all focus with one final ferocious push. Objects flying in Galen's direction throw him off balance until finally he is pushed off the platform into the abyss.
Goodbye, Galen.
At that same moment, Obi-Wan comes back and kicks Vader off. The pair fall into the labyrinth of robotic carousels of test tubes below, paving the way for the students to flee.
Run!
Then Vader attacks. Obi-Wan is overwhelmed by his power. This is not Anakin Skywalker. This is something else, a new creature. His strength is almost too much for him to manage.
Just as you have destroyed my family, Obi-Wan, I have destroyed yours. You have no family, no power, no allies. You are alone, with nothing.
In a moment of locked blades, he sees the younglings escaping. He thinks back to happier memories, reuniting with his family, training the younglings, seeing Luke grow, Leia leading, a future that has yet to be written.
You're wrong, Darth. I have hope.
At that moment, Obi-Wan goes on the offensive. He beats Vader's chest plate in. His breathing begins to flutter. Obi-Wan uses the Force to hurl objects at Vader. He is now on his back foot. Obi-Wan attacks again and again, until he slashes his face mask. Vader stumbles, succumbing to his injuries and technology failing him. Obi-Wan buries him under some bits of rubble to the point he is pinned in, trapped. He approaches him, deciding if he should deliver the final blow or not. But then he sees through the broken mask. Obi-Wan looks at him, seeing the broken man under the armor, seeing the eye of his former apprentice.
Oh, Anakin.
Obi-Wan approaches, unsure if he should end Anakin's misery or let him live. He carries so much anger inside of him, so much guilt for all that he has lost, all his mistakes. He looks down at Anakin, buried under the rubble.
Aren't you going to destroy me?
Obi-Wan's eyes of rage turn to pity. He remembers his old master's words.
Train him, Obi-Wan. Train him.
He wouldn't want me to.
Obi-Wan's grip loosens on his lightsaber. He deactivates it and kneels to Anakin's level.
Come with us, Anakin. Let me help you. Please.
Anakin is gone. I am what remains.
Tears well up in his eyes. His friend's soul is in agony. It is written all over his face.
I pray that you find the light again, brother. I truly do. But until that day, I will be standing right where I belong, between you and the evils you desire.
Obi-Wan stands, triumphant over his fallen apprentice. Starkiller watches from the darkness. Obi-Wan looks over at him, knowing this is where their paths part. He turns and leaps towards the exit. Starkiller walks up to Darth Vader, clears the rubble, and attempts to stand him up.
Stop them.
But Master, you said...
I said go.
Hesitantly, Starkiller leaves his fallen master to pursue Obi-Wan. On the platform, Obi-Wan runs towards the escape vehicle, his students and Kento cheering him on, Bail and Leia waiting in the cockpit. Obi-Wan enters. His students hug him. They all got out.
We've rigged the charges on the comms. We need to go.
The ship pulls away. Starkiller sees them pull away and opens fire from a turret below. Shots hit the ship. One energy bolt hits the primary antenna. At that very moment, Kento hits the detonation button. Nothing happens. He and Obi-Wan look at the facility in disbelief.
If we don't destroy that facility, they will keep running experiments on Force sensitives.
All of the Kamino in research on advanced cloning is in that facility. Kento and Obi-Wan look at each other, knowing what needs to be done. Obi-Wan grabs the remote detonator. He is going to need to be up close in order for it to work. He gets into the escape pod. Kento tells his son to wait. He hugs him.
I love you, son.
Obi-Wan hugs him back. And in that moment, Kento shoots Obi-Wan in the shoulder with a stun shot and pushes him out of the pod. He grabs his cloak and hits the escape button.
Dad, no! I will be with you, son, always.
The pod flies through the air, pushing its way back towards the facility. Kento is at peace. He thinks about his wife, his son, his legacy. He sheds a tear for them, but knows there is hope for the galaxy as long as his son lives. He drapes himself in Obi-Wan's robe and activates a blue lightsaber. It's Cal's. The pod crash lands on the platform. Stormtroopers and Starkiller march toward it. A cloaked figure emerges from the pod. Starkiller assumes it's Obi-Wan. Who else would be carrying a blue lightsaber and Jedi robes after all?
You back for more?
Kento smirks. He outstretches his hand and presses the detonator. Now in range, the bombs go off. Everything crumbles. The structural integrity of the entire facility buckles as they take on water. All of the galaxy's most advanced hidden cloning techniques plummet into the deep. Vader and Starkiller narrowly escape. The battle is over, but the rebellion has just begun. Kento looks up at the sky, accepting his final moments.
I am with you, son. Always.
Back on Yavin, Obi-Wan and Bail chat.
Are you sure you cannot stay with us?
Obi-Wan looks over at the students, celebrating, hugging, reconnecting.
The future of this war doesn't belong to the Jedi anymore, old friend. It belongs to them. Besides, there is someone I need to return to back home.
Bail nods his head. Obi-Wan hugs Moshe and the other young fighters, giving them last words of encouragement.
Your lives are your own now. Make them what you will. Fight for what's right and you will do well.
The students nod and bid him farewell. Obi-Wan looks back one last time on all the lives he has touched, unsure of where their paths will take them. But he knows it's his time now. No longer on the warpath, he is ready to step back and let the rebellion begin. He enters his ship and heads back home. Obi-Wan approaches the Lars farm, this time calm and at peace. No longer the haunted, battle-torn warrior he used to be. He looks at Owen and nods his head. Owen hands him the device back that he gave them when he left.
Anything happen while I was away?
Nothing out of the ordinary. Just a few sand people, a new sarlacc snake in the desert.
Oh? And how did this do?
Fine, Ben. Just fine.
Obi-Wan quietly nods.
Very good.
A young Luke Skywalker jumps out of the hovel to play. Obi-Wan admires his innocence.
Want to meet him?
Another time, perhaps.
And what about your rebellion?
It's not my rebellion anymore, Owen. It's yours. It's Beru's. It's the Hutt's. It belongs to senators and scoundrels, farmers and flyboys, princesses and pirates, families and orphans. It belongs to you, and it belongs to Luke in time. You don't need to believe me anymore, Owen. I promise I won't bother your family anymore. Things will work themselves out in time as long as there are people willing to fight. And Luke will know what to do when the time comes. Hope will endure.
Obi-Wan turns and walks away from the small moisture farm, feeling free for the first time in a very long time. He goes to a lookout point to enjoy the sunset and watch over the farm. He takes the necklace his father gave him and places it in the sand. A look of peace comes across his face. He smiles and looks down at the device Owen returned to him. He presses it. A beeping can be heard behind him. He turns around to see a figure shrouded. He sets down his blaster rifle, sits next to him, and removes his hood. It is Commander Cody.
It's good to see you, General.
It's good to see you too, Cody. How did things go here?
It's been quiet here, General, as always. But there's something I think you need to know.
Tell me everything.
Cut to the far side of Mos Eisley in the mountains next to the Dune Sea. Within the mountain range, a dark cave is hidden, barely visible. A dark figure rappels into the abyss until he finds himself in a huge underground cave. Light reveals an underground lake surrounded by massive kyber crystals. All of these years, right under their feet, the Empire will find this most fascinating. A sound startles the robed figure. Red blade activates. He turns. Maul has returned.